Welcome to 5 and 5 from the one-stop co-op shop, where I discuss 5 key elements of a game in about 5 minutes. I'm Michael Kelly, and today I'm looking at Hoplomachus Victorum, the newest one from Chip Theory Games, a solo-only tactical campaign game. And disclaimer that I was sent a review copy of this. I loved what I got to play of Victorum on Tabletop Simulator, and they've made a lot of changes since then. Is the game as great in physical form? Let's find out and get to the list. So first, my number 5 is a mix, and it's focusing on the heroes you control and fight in your Primus battles, and also the final boss of each campaign, the Scions. On the positive side, the battles against the Primuses, and especially the Scion battles, are incredibly epic, and the Scions are really nice and varied. And also, the hero variety is nice. Each of them has a deck of unique prowess cards that let them level up. So playing as one who's primarily a tank or primarily a range fighter will change things up in an appreciable way. But what brings this down to a mix for me is that sometimes I just wish that both these elements had more of an impact on making the campaigns feel different game to game, because the Scions only have a single unique Scion Bane that you get early in the campaign, and then you can get rid of it with one of your opportunities, so it might not even hang around giving it effect. And after that, the Scions have literally no effect on the entire 4-act campaign until you get to the end. So I sort of wish they had done something like Too Many Bones, where like it changed the monsters you would face, or like they would have encounters with the Scion earlier. It's a minor gripe, but it is there. My number 4 point is also a mix, and that's the overall campaign structure. So in Hoplomachus Victorum, you go through 4 acts, and in each act you're moving around this little map of the ancient world, resolving different challenges. And that works really well. The options for challenges are quite varied. The 4-act structure has a wonderful build to it. They keep on increasing the number of enemies you face as you go through each act, and the powers they have, so the battles become more and more challenging and more epic. But on the negative side, well, potentially negative depending on your taste, it is very long. The first act for me has been taking 90 minutes to 2 hours, and each act after that is even longer because, again, the battles get bigger. And within that, there is sometimes a little bit of a feel of repetition, especially when you get stuck kind of going around the same area for a little while and fighting on the same arena. But for my number 3, we get to a full-on pro. This one is great, and those are the 8 different arenas you battle in. So this is a riff off of what they did in Hoplomachus Origins, and I just love it. As you travel around the world, you fight in different arenas, and they each have some unique trait. Like in Pluto's Refugees, you have beasts charging around and trying to eat your guys. And each arena also has different, but pretty straightforward to follow AI instructions for like what they prioritize and who they attack. And combined with the different events I already mentioned, it just gives each battle its own unique feel. Now again, if you kind of get in a rut of just staying in the exact same arena for like 3 or 4 weeks of the campaign in a row, it can get a little bit dull, but overall I love these, and the mixing and matching of special effects is excellent. My number 2 is also a full-on pro, and that is the squad management and building in the game. And I'll compare this very positively to something like the XCOM series of video games, in that you are slowly putting together a team of exceptional individuals with different powers, especially as you go to the different locations and get more unique units pulled in. But then you go into battle, and sometimes they get killed and your team goes down and you need to build yourself back up. And the whole time you're weighing the choice of how much to throw your hero in, because your units will heal fully if they survive, and even in some events they can't die at all, but your hero won't heal at all. So this tough choice of like when to use who, how to build up your roster, how to get ready for the giant boss battles, which are so challenging. And speaking of tactics, that is my number 1, and again, a full-on pro. I really like this game. The tactical combat is great, and you know, it should be. Chip Theory knows tactical combat really well, and even the original Hoplomachus sets were excellent in this way. And the thing about Hoplomachus and Hoplomachus Victorum is that it's really interesting tactical combat, but the rules aren't complicated. You can move your units, then they get to attack people next to them. They roll the number of dice indicated. It does get a little bit more gritty as you add in special abilities, but the nice thing is you only start with the basic neutral units in the game, and you will only add in more special powers for your hero and more unique enemies as you play through the campaign. And this tactical combat goes in with everything else I've already talked about. The unique arenas, the great mixing and matching of your units, the simple but varied AI and how they play, and also like the varied ways they come out because you randomly draw the order of their things, the tactics they bring into play to use on your characters. You can play tactics on them. It's just really engaging and consistently fun. Again, even playing in the same arena with a similar event, with similar units, still things will be exciting and intense, especially as you get into Act 2, 3, and 4, where it's really a challenge. So overall, I can strongly recommend Hoplomachus Victorum if you like solo tactical games, if you like skirmish games, if you like campaign games with kind of building up a team and finding synergies and combos with your units. On the other hand, you might want to use caution with this one if you're not into campaign games, obviously, or if you don't like pretty long campaigns, because again, this is looking at like 8 to 10 hours minimum to finish. And I guess you might also want to use a little caution if you're really averse to randomness, because there is dice rolling for all the units, and your people can live or die based on how those dice fall. And I did a partial playthrough of some of Act 2 of a campaign. You can click the link that just popped up to check that out. But thanks for watching, everybody. Good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.